welcome back to podcast number 2 of the VFI podcast. This is Steve. I'm Nick. We are excited to be doing this again. We still couldn't find anybody better to do it with us other than us, so you're stuck with us, but I think we're going to make the most of it, have a good time.
Yes, sir.
Last time we hit just a quick little introduction about this podcast, what our goals are, what we're trying to do for the future. Today we have an exciting show. We're featuring Shona Eakin, our CEO. We're going to talk a little bit about VFI's background, our history, what we've done here, as well as talking a little bit about our 30th anniversary party, which is what we're really excited about. We're really promoting here over these next couple of weeks, trying to get some folks to come out and join us. But first, we go back to our first podcast, talked a little bit about our No Limits Fitness event. Steve, what'd you think about that? I know we talked a little bit about that last time, but now that we've had a little bit of time to sit back and breathe a little bit, what'd you think? How'd it go?
It was an incredible event. 4th annual No Limits Adaptive Fitness Challenge held right here at the Voices office in Erie. Incredible turnout from folks. Again, incredible support from our sponsors.
Sure.
Wonderful volunteers across the board as well. Entertainment provided by Erie Encore Entertainment. Food provided by Holy Smokes Barbecue. Just wonderful feedback from the community about this event. Great coverage from our friends at Erie News Now. Not to mention the fact that you'll see online not just our photo album, but many others have shared photos and videos from the event. Really heartwarming to see the community come together for this. And individuals that take pride in this event.
Yeah,
they earn that medal, that finisher medal. And again, thank you to everyone who showed up to take part in this. Thank you again to our sponsors. You've probably seen on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
yeah, you crush
LinkedIn.
it on Facebook, getting all those out. That's what we got to do, man. I like it.
We want to sincerely thank these partners that we have in the community, because without you, these events don't exist. Certainly not the capacity that they do now. Thank you again to everybody for turning up for this. It was an incredible event.
That's it. It was a great day, and I even see you managed to get our friends over at what was the news station that came out to visit us?
Erie News Now.
Erie News Now came out, which we got some cool, and you got to see that. I think it was on their 6 o'clock news, a little recap of our event, which was really neat to get to. And more importantly, what was neat was our folks, those that came to participate, got a little bit of airtime, which I think is cool to kind of share with everyone who that event is for. While it's an all-inclusive adaptive fitness challenge, we are really put together a great event for the folks that come and visit our community every day. Doing these podcasts here right in our offices, you can see in the background probably, or if not, you can hear the voices of the folks that come here every day. We've got about 50 to 100 every day that show up at these doors and participate in our events, and I think it's cool to be able to do this right here in the midst of all that, so that we can share each and every little bit about what goes on here on a daily basis. So
that's right.
Great show ahead. Steve, you've been killing it on the social media side. We're excited to see that, and I appreciate all your hard work there to get this set up. I know you're going to head behind camera here as we get ready to introduce Shona, and I thank you for that hard work. So coming up next on our next segment, I'd say it's sponsored by somebody, but it hasn't been yet. But if you're looking to be involved and set up a sponsorship for a podcast here, let us know. We'd love to sell it out. We're, as much as I joke and I jest about these things, our hopes are to draw some attention and education to those about what we do. But as any nonprofit does, we really want to also try to do the best we can to get some more funding so that we can grow our programs, that we can take care of the folks that we need. We'll mention it often throughout this podcast. The need is great, and while we're helping so many, there are so many more that we just can't get to. So we do need your help in every which way, shape, or form, just to say hey, and we appreciate that. And part of this platform that we have is an opportunity to be able to share that need with everyone, but also be able to say thank you. So if you've supported us in any way, especially this weekend, we had a lot of corporate sponsors, but we had a lot of individual donors too. And thank you to you for recognizing the need and helping us do that. That money will go to building up those programs in our fitness center and our activity center, so that more folks can be touched by everything that we do in this organization, especially in our activity program and our fitness program. Our fitness center is top notch, one of the best in the business. We have one here in Erie, PA, one in our Washington office, and we train many on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, who come in to keep themselves fit and active throughout the process. It is adaptive, so it makes it work for every single person for whatever their needs may be. So thank you for that, because that's part of that process, and part of that weekend is your help in making that happen. So looking forward to the show that we have ahead, and we'll get rolling with that here on our next segment. We'll talk to Shona Eakin, our CEO here at Voices for Independence.
Great.
And we're back here at the VFI podcast, getting ready to roll on our new segment here today. We are fortunate and happy to have Shona Eakin, CEO of Voices for Independence, here with us, and we are pumped that she is able to join us today. Steve-O's behind the camera, so he's not missing, and we are just happy to kind of just have a little chat today about Voices for Independence and all that we do. So, longtime CEO, give me a little background about VFI. Tell me about your time here, all that fun stuff. Let's get rolling with that.
Well, Nick, I've been here for 24 years and counting.
Yeah.
And Voices for Independence has changed so much in those 24 years.
Sure.
I remember back in the day, we had a storefront that was
Wow.
just big enough for, I think at the time, 12 staff and myself. And, you know, who would have thought
Sure.
that 24 years later we'd be here on this campus at the old Vernondale Elementary School that many people know and love,
Yeah.
and we're able to bring the community full circle by serving people with disabilities of all ages in this building and on this campus.
Very cool. Now, tell us about VFI's coverage area. I know that we are in the Erie office today. We're having a good time. We have another office in Washington. What do we do in between those two areas, and how do we serve our folks with that?
Wow, we serve 27 counties in western Pennsylvania, and you know, when I look back at how VFI has grown
Yeah.
and changed, we doubled in size a few years ago.
Sure.
We went from 13 to 27 counties overnight.
Yep.
And, you know, as the Center for Independent Living, though, we offer the 5 core services of an independent living center.
Yeah.
And just in case our audience might not know what they are,
Sure.
I'm going to walk through those. We are an advocacy organization, so we advocate on a systemic
Yep.
and individual basis for people with disabilities, their families, and friends.
Sure.
And, you know, we believe as an organization that with advocacy, everything else will fall into line.
Yeah.
As a Federal Center for Independent Living, advocacy is one of the core services that we do. We also are a peer-to-peer organization. We believe very strongly that people with disabilities learn best and grow best when they are walking alongside other people with disabilities who have already lived this experience.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's very non-traditional in the sense of, you know, when you think of most social service agencies, you think of support and counseling in a way that is clinical.
Sure.
We're very life-based. We share lives with each other, and we learn and grow through that experience. So peer counseling is peer support is a foundational service of our organization. Along with that then comes skills training. Skills training is something that, you know, when you acquire a disability or you're even born with a disability, often navigating a community that is virtually not accessible
Yeah.
is difficult. You don't even know what you don't know
That's it.
until you one day maybe you're living with your mom and dad, and all of a sudden you start thinking like any young adult does, it's time for me to go out on my own.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes you don't know even where to start. We're a place that helps people get their start.
Sure.
We're a place that if somebody needs to learn maybe to ride the bus system, maybe to know where to go to get hand controls for their car, maybe to know what pieces of equipment might help them do different things in their first apartment.
Sure.
Even finding that first apartment can be difficult.
Yeah.
You know, we help people and support people in very real, concrete ways, develop whatever skill they need to live the independent lifestyle they want.
Sure.
The key there is each person has an individual experience. You know, we all do.
Yeah.
So the things I know how to do, you know, maybe someone else doesn't. And there are other people along this continuum of life that know how to do things that I don't know how to do. So we
That's it.
try to match people up and learn skills from each other and support one another as we walk through the journey of being as independent as possible.
Certainly, yeah.
And then, for another service that is often misunderstood and a lot of people are unaware of is information referral. I can't tell you how many calls and internet inquiries we get from the public just asking a basic disability kind of question.
Sure.
Maybe you're a college student and you're doing a term paper on your chosen career, and all of a sudden you think, well, maybe it'd be interesting to learn about disability. We get those kinds of calls all the time. Students wanting to know. We get calls from family members looking for, my loved one has changed in their life. They want to do different things.
Sure.
We don't know where to go to get them hooked up to public transportation so that they're not driving in my car. We don't know where to go to get them hooked up to things like Social Security, because now all of a sudden they're a young adult and they have to have an income.
Yep.
We don't know where to go to get them accommodations, maybe at college or trade school,
Sure.
or even when they're a child in an elementary school. Oftentimes people don't know that they have the right to ask for accommodations for their loved one. So information referral can be any question. I mean, you pick. It could be anything that anyone has about having a disability, living with a disability, or working in the disability world. The other thing that we do here that I'm very proud of is we do youth transition services. We help young people who are in school transition to the next phase of their maturity, whether that be high school, whether that be college, whether that be trade school, whatever that is. We are youth transition organization. So we want to empower young people with disabilities to one day lead organizations like this, to one day be contributors to organizations like this. And another form of transition that we do is called nursing facility transition. Many people with disabilities find themselves in a situation where maybe their support system fell apart. Maybe something as simple as they didn't know where to go to get a ramp put on their house. So they find themselves not being able to go back there. They can't go back to their house. So they're facing a placement in a nursing facility. And maybe they thought when they went in there 8 months ago that it was going to be a very temporary thing. And here they find themselves 8 months later still there. And, we have learned in the disability community that it takes on average about 3 months for people with disabilities to lose their support system. So that person who maybe has been in that facility for 8, 9 months, a year, all of a sudden they don't have what it takes to provide household setup anymore. They don't know what to do to make their existing home accessible. That's what landed them there in the first place. Or what to do to possibly look for a more accessible location. We have staff that cover our 27 counties that go into nursing facilities at the request of individuals, at the request of their managed care organization, to help them relocate back into the community and put together the pieces of the puzzle that will make them a success. Because, it's all about looking at individuals' unique needs and helping them walk through what it would look like for them to be successful.
That's it,
And, in addition to those 5 core services, we do many other things because over the years, things would come up. I found myself looking for ways to fill gaps. One thing that happened to me very early on is we have an on-call service, and once in a while I would take that on-call service just to give my staff a break so that they could have an evening off or whatever. And I found myself when I was on call spending a lot of time talking to people just because they were lonely or
Yeah.
scared. And I kept thinking to myself, what can I do to change that?
Sure.
What can we do as an organization to make people's lives better? What do people need to not feel like they have to call me
Yeah,
at midnight when they need somebody to talk to?
exactly.
And it came down to we all have connections, we all have informal supports. And sometimes people with disabilities don't. So I came into work one day and I said to my staff, I said, we're going to turn this on its ear.
Sure.
We're going to make it so that we create opportunities for people to have a network.
Yep.
You know, and I found myself going to places in the community, going to coffee shops, going to fitness centers, going to art galleries, other places, and saying, hey, can you accommodate 8, 10, 20 people in wheelchairs? And the answer was no, you know. And so I had to think about, what do I need to do to create that type of environment, to expose people to what they can do,
Sure.
and then link them to what's in the community later.
Yeah.
So we started with very simple things. We asked consumers to tell us what they would like to do, what
Yeah.
they think is missing in their lives. And the resounding thing was, I want to go with my friends to a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And so we started having live music come into our building once in a while, just to
Yeah.
have local artists play music, and Panera would donate coffee in Danish, and
Nice.
and we still do that today because it's a way to connect people to other people.
Bringing everybody together.
I realized that once I did that, once I started to do that, once the staff started to do that, they weren't calling me at midnight anymore. They weren't calling our on-call just to talk because they were lonely. They were calling their connections. They were calling their friends, you know. And so that's one of the things that make us unique,
Sure.
and that's something that you know, not all centers do, nor are we required to do, but it's something that came out of necessity for
That's
us.
it. Yeah.
The other thing that we do that a lot of organizations don't, and a lot of centers for independent living may not, is we do direct home modifications. We look for people that need ramps or widened doorways and modified bathrooms, and try to put together the pieces of
Sure.
funding that exist to make it possible for them to remain in their homes and to or to go back to their home
Yeah.
if they're in an institution. Like many centers for independent living, we also provide housing assistance. And by that I mean, you know, people are looking for places to live. But the unfortunate thing is there's not enough accessible housing.
Sure.
So our home modification team and our housing staff often work hand in hand, because you find a place to live, but it has to be modified
That's
for
it.
them to get in it.
It's got to be moved.
So,
Yep.
you know, we do what we can to meet those needs.
Sure. Definitely.
The other thing that Voices for Independence does that many centers for independent living do not do is that we happen to be a home care agency.
Sure.
I am a person with a disability, obviously, and I use home care each day to be able to come into Voices for Independence and do my job
Sure.
as the CEO. We look at attendant care, home care, as a tool in our bag of tricks to help people to live independently. And a long time ago, consumers came to me, people we serve, and said, you know, we need a non-traditional home care agency.
Sure.
We'd like to find an agency that will meet us where we're at. So if they want to go out in the community, we allow our attendants to go with them. If they want to go to a restaurant, a play, a bar, we allow our attendants to go
Sure.
with them. Now, with the right to have attendant care comes responsibility. So, in as much as it's the right to have it,
Sure.
using it in a responsible way is very important.
That's right.
So, using the example, I often tell people this. If you use your attendant to go out into the community and something happens and that attendant is not comfortable, they have the right to say, hey, I don't want to do that again.
Sure.
So with the privilege of engaging in the community comes the responsibility to treat it as such.
Exactly.
We are an organization that is run by people with disabilities, serving people with disabilities. We are constantly looking for people who might want to work
Exactly.
in the field of home care, who might want to use a couple hours of their time each week to help someone else
That's it.
who
Yeah.
wants to engage in their community and live independently.
Sure. So, Shona, you've kind of hit the nail on the head of everything that we are doing. We have a one-stop shop community. We've talked about this before, being the place where everyone comes to be a part of that mix, to be a part of that community, but not just that, to get the help that everybody needs, because the need is so great that we need it. So when you're looking at that and we're talking about all the services, what's the best way to get involved? How can we help?
I guess I would say that if you've listened to this podcast and you've heard things and you're thinking, yeah, but I have this unique situation, and maybe they can help me, maybe they can't.
Sure.
The best way to find that answer is to call us. Each person is an individual, and if we don't currently have what you need, we will stand beside you and help you find that.
That's it.
And if we can't help you find that, we may end up creating it, because that's how a lot of our programs and services have come to be.
Yeah.
Because again, we tried to fill gaps that we noticed were there in the community.
Sure.
So the best thing I can tell anyone who might be listening is, if you have a need, call us. If you have
Exactly.
questions, call us.
That's it.
If you want to give us a test run and see if there's a way someone can support you,
Yeah.
call us.
That's it.
Because you only help yourself by picking up that phone or emailing us or going on our Facebook page to find out more information.
That's it. And we'll have those numbers running across the screen throughout the process so that you know exactly where to get you and how to get a hold of us. So 24 years as CEO here. Give me some of your best memories of this place. I know a lot has gone on in 24 years. Some fun ones, something that we can use to kind of just talk about, some fun things that we've done here. Your best memories of those over these past 24 years.
Well, I have to say that many of my best memories of VFI have been centered around advocacy. I remember back in the early days when, our sidewalks and curb cuts
Sure.
were not always the greatest in terms of accessibility.
Yeah.
And having, back in the day when we used to do barrier awareness days downtown, and we'd have councilmen and women using wheelchairs to navigate their community, and just opening up people's perspective about, they don't even think about how disability might
Sure.
impact them until they have a moment to experience it. And out of that, we've been able to make Erie a much more accessible
Sure.
place for people to live.
Go for it.
And another one is the Civic Center downtown. We were instrumental in working with them
Sure.
to make that environment accessible, not only accessible by letter of the law, but usable in a way that will really help people enjoy the venue.
Yeah.
Definitely. Things that most people don't think of is like extra outlets. So when you're watching a concert or a game, you can be plugging in your wheelchair so you can roll back home and not have to worry about it dying before you get there. Or plug in if you have a need for an extra piece of equipment like a ventilator or other things. You can plug those things in, because people don't think about that when you think about trying to go out for an evening and making sure that someone can enjoy their experience. Other things are small victories, seeing people that once lived in an institution now thriving in the community, and not only thriving but working here part-time and volunteering here, things that they're sometimes those victories come few and far between, and they take a while to get to, but once you've achieved them, they're really something to celebrate.
Definitely.
I mean, I know that this place helps me be a better person, and I'm the CEO of the organization. I talk about peer support because I believe in it.
Sure.
Every day coming in here, if there's a disability experience, I like to call it, that I had the day before, I know that the people around me get it. They understand it. And that's what makes this place unique, is because we're willing to share life with one another and share each other's experiences, and sometimes laugh and sometimes cry because we got to make it through the next thing. But together we can do it.
That's it. There's no more islands anymore. You're creating an atmosphere where people come together. As you can see, we're coming to you, quote unquote live, as they say, from our offices today, which means you're hearing the activity. You're seeing what we've built here with all the folks that come in here on a day-to-day basis. We've got 50 to 100 people at our activities every single day, which, again, is what we see here. And we've built so much, from all that's going on in your 24 years here, and more importantly, what we're celebrating this year is our 30th anniversary. And tell me how excited you are that we are celebrating our 30th this year, and what that means to you as our CEO and leader of the whole organization.
I know that the original incorporators of this organization, when they started back in 1993, had no idea that Voices for Independence was going to become what it is today. And I'm thrilled to have been a part of this. It's a privilege. It's exciting to see where we can go from here. I am looking forward to celebrating with everybody who has helped make Voices for Independence what it is. Consumers who used to come here all the time and don't come here so often, I hope to see your faces. People who are curious about what we do and who we are, I hope to see your faces. People that come here every day and just participate in our activities, that'll be a night of celebration.
That's it.
Our board of directors is something to be proud of. This is a time in our history where they need to give themselves a pat on the back. Because without them, I wouldn't be here, and none of us would be here, and the people we're serving wouldn't get the services they get. We are a unique organization, and I think our 30th anniversary will be a unique evening that everyone will enjoy. So I hope they come on out.
That's it. And we're going to get to that here in a few seconds here. We'll talk about our 30th anniversary party coming up here on the 17th of September. But one last question for you before we head there. 30 years, it's a huge accomplishment. Tell me, what would you like to see for the next 30 years in this place?
I want Voices for Independence to thrive. I know this is going to sound ironic. I said I want Voices for Independence to thrive. But I wish that as a society we could put Voices for Independence out of business. Because then people with disabilities would truly be integrated in this community. But as long as people need us, we're going to be here. And we're going to continue to serve and promote living independently and empowering people with disabilities.
Perfect. That's awesome. Shona, thank you for that background on VFI. That's huge, is what we're trying to accomplish with this podcast that we're doing here, is sharing with the communities that we serve in all the counties here everything that we do. We do a whole lot. And it's hard to see that. And I think a lot of folks go, I've heard of you before, but I don't know what you do. And we want to really take the time to educate and do that. And I thank you for the time today. And you're going to be joining us next when we talk about our 30th anniversary party and what's coming up here soon. So, Shona, thank you for your time with that. And we're going to get talking about the 30th here right now.
Thank you.
So we're back. Steve's back joining us, back from the camera time. Thanks, Steve, for doing that. Shona, thank you for being with us as we kind of go. We're navigating this world of podcast, lifestyle, and all this fun stuff. And really, our big topic here that we're going to talk about now is our 30th anniversary party. Our 30th anniversary party, Tuesday, September 17th, 2024, 6 p.m. at the fabulous and wonderful historic Warner Theater in Erie. We are pumped that we have the opportunity to be able to be there. Steve, details. What are we doing that night?
This event's going to be huge. We are going to feature Inspire. They are a local disability-based theater troupe. They're going to be performing a tribute to the Beatles, and they're going to be backed by a live band, and that's Erie's premier Beatles tribute band, Abbey Road. This performance is going to take place on the historic Warner stage, and prior to that, we're going to have a large red carpet reception in the lobby that's going to feature fun, games, 50-50, raffles, informational tables from VFI, photo booth, you name it. We're going to have about an hour in the lobby where we're going to congregate, socialize, and then we're going to move it to the main stage for the large performance, and it's just going to be a great time for everyone.
That's it. We're celebrating the 30th. Shona, you mentioned before that we've got a lot to celebrate. We've got little victories in terms of all the things we've accomplished. We have a lot to celebrate here at Erie. What do we need help with? What are the big things that we could use here to make this night even better? We're talking, we have sponsorship packages out there to get folks available with that. What else would you like to see there? Tell everybody who you want to be there, the whole community, invite them all. What do you want to see?
Well, I would love for the entire community to show
Sure.
up. So, I mean, we have enough room for what, 2,000 people,
We've got enough room
1,500
for
people?
2,000 people. We would love to
So-
see that place filled to the gills for sure.
Yes, I would love to see that. But, you know, I would love to see some of our community leaders show
Sure.
up, like Mayor Schember and like our elected officials, Representative Harkin, Representative Bizarro,
Sure.
you know, folks and Representative Mursky, folks that have been partners with us and have the ability to influence policy that gets set that affects people's lives.
Yeah.
I would love for them to be there. And, you know, really, it's a celebration of our history.
That's it.
So if you've ever had anything to do with VFI, former staff, you know, even the former CEO of Voices, I would love for the folks to come out and celebrate with us
Sure.
and party and reminisce about the past and look forward to the future
That's it.
as because, you know, we can't stay stagnant. We got to continue to grow and
Yep.
we got to continue to serve. And this is a moment in time in which we get to celebrate
That's
who
right.
we are and what we've done and looking for partners to carry us into the future.
That's it. That's perfect. That's exactly it. And that's, you know, this is a great night for us, for all those that have been involved, all those that have supported. We love to see our supporters there. If you supported us in any way, or if you're looking to support us now, especially, we're looking for some sponsors, looking for some folks to donate some things. If you have the opportunity, get in touch with us. All of our information, VFICIL.org. Give our quality office and let us know that you'd love to help. All the information is there. Tickets online as well. Steve, what's our tickets for this? How does that work?
Easy enough. You go to erieevents.com, or you can go straight to VFICIL.org, like you said. Either way, you'll get more information about the event, full details, an easy ticket link. We have general admission tickets on sale right now. We have VIP tickets still available. And Sean, I think you put it perfectly the last time we spoke, that this event is going to be a celebration for everyone. We want everyone to attend, and not just to honor our past 30 years, but to celebrate moving into the next 30 years and how we can continue to help the community in bigger and better ways.
Absolutely. I mean, it's ironic that we're having our event at the Warner because we worked very deliberately and many years ago with the Warner Theater to help it become as accessible as it is.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great to be able to actually see the fruits of our labor
Sure.
work for everyone.
That's it.
So
Very cool. We're
Excited.
excited. That's it. We're all excited. This is going to be a great night. In an upcoming podcast, we're going to be interviewing the ladies. We call them the Marys, who are the directors of Inspire. They're the ones who take care of that. So we're excited to hear about them and their contribution to this night and what they do. Shona, thank you for being here. Any last thoughts about the 30th before we sign it off today?
Just come on out and celebrate with us. If you have any questions, call the office.
That's it.
Look to our website. I'm excited. Can't wait to see you all. It'll be fun.
Perfect. Shona, thank you for your time today. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy, crazy schedule to come here and talk with us about this. Steve, as always, I appreciate you being my sidekick in this.
My
You took
pleasure.
some time on the video today, which is wonderful. This is Steve. I'm Nick. We are signing off for podcast number 2 today of the VFI podcast. Keep an eye out for more details to come and visit us at vficil.org or our Facebook page to learn more. Thank you all so much. Have a great day.
Take care.